It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso, and I can feel it in my bones. It's time for our weekly health segment with Dr. Darren Green. And this morning, yes, we're going under the skin, through the muscles. We're dodging the nerves and sinew and strimming it down to the bones. We've got Dr. Darren Green here to talk about bones, something that we all share. This is part of the human condition. Look at that, man. Guns out, sun's out, guns out. But a really interesting discussion this morning. So we're going to obviously invite your calls if you've got any questions for the doc. 021 430 9881 doesn't charge by the hour on this show, so you better connect with us. That picture actually gives us a great jumping off point. Yeah. Do children start with more bones than a grown-up? And I use the term grown-up loosely when describing myself. Do I have less bones than my child?
You do actually, but it's a double-edged answer, because the first one is that the reason why they have more bones, obviously, is they have a lot of cartilage, which is often the pre-runner to hardening, obviously, solid form bone. And obviously, the muscles that grow, if you look at a long shaft, at the end there's a growth plate with cartilage obviously at the top and in what's called a growth plate. And the muscles elongate from that growth plate. And as you get older, obviously, those growth plates then fuse.
So it's just like my little boy doesn't have kneecaps yet because he hasn't started crawling, but as he extends...
It's incredible.
It's insane, man. Let's talk about collagen. Is that basically the source of the tissue that becomes bone? Do our bodies replenish collagen? Is this something that we can do? How often, I know that we regenerate eye tissue, those eye cells at a really quick rate. How quickly do we regrow bone?
Yeah, so cartilage, as such, is what lines the joint surfaces. So if you look at a piece of chicken, for example, and you see that shiny white-like substance right at the end of the long bone, that's cartilage. It ensures that it's not that you don't have bone on bone, that you have smooth movement at the joints, for example, as well. So cartilage can be replaced as time goes on. Those cells have a life cycle that can regenerate and replenish. And just as you utilize movement and exercise and not sitting on your behind, you cause an increased stimulation rate of that cartilage that lines those surfaces to be regenerated.
So exercise is good. I love that. Might be a little off topic. Are teeth considered to be bone?
Yeah, well,
if just enamel, or where do they sit in the scale?
Yeah, well, they're also part of that system. So you can imagine that they also have just extra compounds with them. So they're extensions, obviously, of the sockets. So if you have a fracture of the tooth and the enamel extending into the jaw, it's an open fracture. It just has other things added to it that make it so special and pearly.
I think the big question is, my mother, either she was lying to me my whole life or not. Calcium, obviously we know that this forms part of a healthy bone or skeleton structure, but how does calcium help your bones? What's actually going there on a chemical
It's a building block,
level?
So it's like the bricks that manufacture the different components. So if you look at a chocolate with bubbles, like an Aero or whatever, you consider obviously the inside air pockets with those little, the chocolates in waves. So too, bone also has a porous structure in the middle, and if you look at it.
Otherwise it'd be all weigh 300 kilograms. Yeah.
Exactly, it's not solid. So what you find, obviously, is that there's cells, specialized cells in the body that build bone, called osteoblasts. Osteo for bone, blasts for building. And then you get others that when the bone has gone through its life cycle, needs to be broken down, so that new bone can be generated. It's called osteoclasts. So the entire duration of the skeleton and the lifespan of the skeleton is determined by the balance between the osteoblast and the osteoclast.
I'm so cool. I've got osteoblasts in me. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. 021 430 9881. If you've got any questions, we're going to continue talking bone health after getting back to the kitchen.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
While Ewan works on his bone density in the kitchen, we're going to continue the same with our doc. And of course, you've got him on speed dial 021 430 9881. Please, if you've got any questions relating to the skeleton. Oh, and we've got a caller right now. Anthony, a very good morning, Anthony. How are you, my friend? Mrs. Anthony, my apologies. Mrs. Anthony, how are you? Mrs. Anthony, are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I don't want to keep you long. I just want to tell you, Doctor, I am 90 years and 6 months.
90.
I'm fine, thank you. I've had my 90th birthday in February, I live in an upstairs flat. I've got a garden cottage. I'm up and down those steps
Yes.
about 5 or 6 times a day.
Wow.
I walk around and I'm healthy. And I just want to tell people not to sit down the whole day. Get out and walk and you'll get my age too.
I was going to ask you what your secret is, but
There it
I
is.
think that spirit says a lot. Mrs. Anthony, first of all, congratulations on your birthday earlier this year. Thank you so much for connecting with us. We absolutely love you. We
Thank
could
you.
end our conversation right there. Get up and move. Is
Yes.
that true? What promotes healthy and strong bones right the way through life? And we're talking 90 years old. That's amazing.
That's incredible. So remember, what is the function of bone? It's basically the structure that you hang your muscular structure on.
This is a photo of Mrs. Anthony sent in.
There we go, from 1930. There we go. So you can have a look at that. And the muscle structure obviously is attached to the bone. So you need the right balance of the amount of muscle you carry, the weight of your muscle, obviously, and also the proportions. Because all the joints are moved by agonist, antagonist. In other words, your biceps move, they bend the arm. The tricep move, they extend the arm. The balance and the ratios between the different muscles are
Don't do
very
that.
important.
Don't do that every day. Okay.
So the load that you place, obviously, on the skeleton is quite important. But movement as such for the joints, the cartilage surfaces, they actually lubricate the joints. But when it comes to, obviously, training, body weight, resistance exercises, like you see there, someone doing a push-up, those are essential in terms of maintaining good bone health and also maintaining the balance in that difference. You look there at the porous structures, look at the density of the bone as it changes from the left all the way going through to the right where you have too many spaces. That is brittle bone. That will snap like a crunchy chocolate in the middle.
Mr. Glass.
You know, so that's what your bone looks like when it's healthy and strong, and as it moves across, you develop, obviously, those holds.
90 years old, to still be strong and moving around, that's amazing. What is actually happening to our bones as we grow older?
Yes, so what you find is the density, as is depicted there, is altered because of the balance between those osteoblasts and osteoclasts. So the building bone happens in the early stages of life. It's affected by numerous chemical processes, from thyroid hormone all the way through to your calcium content, your vitamin D intake. Because it's no use drinking milk and having cheese and getting in all this calcium if you're not having enough vitamin D in your diet, because you need it to absorb the calcium from the gut and the GIT tract, and that's what results, obviously, in you using the calcium.
I'm getting denser as we sit here because he is just so bright. Absolutely loving it. We'd love to hear from more of you. 021 430 9881. Keep those calls coming.
It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You are live with Expresso as we connect to your funny bone. As always, I'm interested to know if the funny bone is actually a bone. Dr. Darren Green, I'll ask him that right at the end of this very important discussion. Now, I don't want to make light of something that is quite serious. We're talking about bones, essential part of our system. Yes, we know that. But so many things that can affect it. And we're going to talk about bone diseases. Now, we'd love to hear from you. 021 430 9881. Please connect with us, especially if you were like Mrs. Anthony, or 90 years old and
Legendary.
healthy and strong. I love that. But on the flip side of that coin, osteoporosis, what exactly is that?
So simply, it's brittle bones, put very simply, and that involves, obviously, if you look at the amount of those pores and
porous
the quality of the
gaps,
density of the bone packed over there, you can see that you have porosity, obviously, of healthy, strong bone bridges, and that means that the bone is brittle.
The casts are beating the blasts.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have a little bump and a small little fall, and that's going to break quite easily. There's a pre-runner often to osteoporosis, which is called osteomalacia, which is where you have soft bone, which is just softer. In other words, the density is not like that. Just the quality of the bone itself in the architecture is actually soft, not as strong and rigid because of a lack of calcium or vitamin D.
So is it preventable? Is someone more prone to it? What are the kind of risk factors involved, and can you prevent
100%.
osteoporosis?
So, yes, I alluded earlier on to estrogen playing a very important role when it comes to osteoporosis. So ladies, as they go through menopause, which is the process where estrogen levels are decreased, that affects, obviously, that cycle between healthy bone and bone, obviously, remodeling. So you have then what develops later on as porosity of high-quality bone. So estrogen withdrawal, thyroid functions, dietary-related factors like calcium and vitamin D intake, and of course sedentary lifestyles. Those are the factors that cause and lead to osteoporosis.
Then is estrogen the route to go when looking at addressing this, or is it simply a case of getting more calcium and obviously that vehicle, the vitamin D, to get the calcium into the bones?
When you get to that stage of being diagnosed with osteoporosis, it's often very late and too late. Then they do treat you obviously with Iridia and certain compounds that help maintain the bone quality that you do have. But to regenerate cartilage at the age of 65, for example, and 70 is almost impossible. So you need to do preventative therapy and start now with your diet and your lifestyle and those modifiable risk factors.
Start today. We've got Patricia on the line right now. Very good morning, Patricia.
Hi, good morning, Graham.
Thank you so much for connecting. Do you have a question or a comment for the doc?
Look, I am a brittle bone sufferer, right? I am currently turned over into arthritis, and it's also osteoporosis. So I've got the vitamin D6 and the calcium tablets that I have to take. But I was wondering how long should I take it, or because I go for the other treatments, the Iridium treatments once a year. I don't know how long and when the treatment will stop.
Wonderful, wonderful question. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Your timing is absolutely perfect. She spoke about the relationship between arthritis and, of course, osteoporosis. But looking at the treatment that you had just mentioned about treating osteoporosis specifically, is this now for the rest of Patricia's life? Or
yes. Yes, it is, certainly. So the Iridia obviously is once a year that she mentions that she has to go for that treatment. But you also have to consider, she's asking if she must continue with calcium supplementation and vitamin D. And certainly she can't afford where she's at in terms of her health clinical picture right now to stop it. She needs to preserve the good quality bone she has and decrease the osteoclast activity and the resultant loss of quality bone. So that's where she needs to actually continue being compliant with those meds.
So, Patricia, we say hang in there if you are watching or still on the line. Please hang in there and don't stop that treatment. A very interesting discussion. We're going to connect again with the doc in a moment. Again, 021-430-988. And we've had some fantastic comments and questions this morning. Please bring more.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Dude, I feel like I'm absorbing by osmosis all of this incredible information. We're talking about bones this morning. Maybe we have time to squeeze in one more call, 021-430-9881. Please give us a shout. Let's talk about broken bones and those bones healing.
Yes.
How long does a bone take to heal? And does it heal? Because I know in Kung Fu we often practice building bone density on your knuckles especially. Does a bone heal stronger than it was before?
Yeah, so often you have, after a hairline crack even, the deposition. In other words, your body deposits new bone at that side. That's called callus, by the way, C-A-L-L-U-S. And it forms a little bridge of bone where the crack was and actually strengthens it, and it's quite dense bone that forms. The things that influence, however, your age, how young you are, the better the quality of the bone that's there. Whether you smoke or not is a massive implication in terms of bone quality and healing. So all the orthopedic surgeons out there will tell their patients repeatedly, like that guy over there, that he must, if he wants that to heal, he wants that bone to heal quickly, stop smoking, and alcohol also plays a role. So your lifestyle factors make a massive difference. And then obviously, if you are allowing cross bridges and healing to take place, you have to immobilize that joint and obviously keep it out of weight bearing.
Traditionally, how long does a bone take to heal?
About 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So in youngsters, they have what's called a green stick fracture, which is where they have flexible bones. So just the top part of the bone might just get a little...
kind of, the green stick.
Like a celery stick.
Okay, cool, yeah.
You know? Snaps. And then they have that obviously healing sometimes even as soon as 2 weeks. But generally, you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks for a undisplaced and an aligned fracture to heal itself.
You mentioned some negative factors. Just very quickly, one thing that we can do every day that you recommend to have healthier, stronger bones?
Yeah, try and get some stairs in to obviously add weight to your skeleton and keep moving. Don't sit for periods longer, I'd say, than an hour and a half, if you can. There's new evidence that shows that sitting is the new smoking, which is actually mind-boggling in terms of preventative health and decreasing the non-communicable diseases. In other words, the lifestyle diseases.
In other words, follow the example of Mrs. Anthony at 90 years old. Maybe
There we
move
go.
to an upstairs flat, hit the stairs every day. Don't live a sedentary lifestyle. Dr. Darren Green, you are
Absolute
awesome, my
pleasure.
friend. Hopefully you found some real gems out of that information. Make sure you get your calcium in daily, every day, along with your vitamin D.